All right, so specialized courts. A court that deals with something specific. Tribal court. If you're on a reservation, you'll know they do not have outside police force. They have their own tribal police. They usually have a mutual agreement with the local sheriff's department, where if needed, sheriffs are authorized to come in, but with the permission of the tribal leaders. They hear cases relative to Native American law proceedings. They have domestic disputes. They have civil cases. It gets a little iffy when you talk about a criminal matter. If you have a Native American and Indian person come out to the community, commit a crime, a serious felony, say they killed someone, then they go back to the reservation to seek refuge. Do we have the authority to go in and extradite them? No. That's where the FBI has to be called in. Federal Bureau, they can come in. They'll meet with the tribal leaders, but it gets really messy.
Give them heads up.
Yeah, it's going to get ugly. If they want them, they're going to be forced to surrender this person. But to actually gather the troops, round the wagons, and go in and get them, no. I've never heard of it happening. I don't know if it has, but it would get really, really ugly. So usually that's where the mutual agreement comes in with the local sheriffs. They meet with the tribal leaders and they will set rules. These are the circumstances where we will come to talk to you, but we expect your cooperation. So they have an understanding before something like that would happen. Community court, in the neighborhood, neighborhood based, they seek to resolve local problems. They have no legal authority. You have community and you want to police your own. A step above neighborhood watch. You have some kids being rowdy at inappropriate times of the evening. You may call their parents in, have a little counsel with them, get your kids in order, but it's not legally binding. 3 dozen throughout the country, quality of life crimes. Like I said, loud noises, maybe even a graffiti issue. Very, very limited to what they can actually hear. And specialized courts are really popular these days. They let people handle their own problems. Problem-solving court. Good. I wasn't sure if I had this slide. Seek to achieve tangible outcomes for victims, offenders, and society. There's more than 3,000 of these nationwide. The one that sees the most action is this drug court. They, especially dealing with juveniles. Instead of putting a permanent mark on their record, they'll send them to this alternative type of a court where they meet with probably a probation officer. They set some rules for reform. The parents have to be present, and everybody's like a contract deal. And everybody signs that, yes, we're going to make sure this person changes their behavior. If it's successful, the charges are erased. There's no record that it ever happened. Driving while intoxicated, that was DUI, this DWI. Deals with only alcohol-related cases. Domestic violence courts, more on the social end. They're overseen by like social service. They want to make sure that the victim is being taken care of and not being washed under the carpet. Mental health courts. You have some people out there that are really desperate need of mental health. Well, big in your homeless population, which is the homeless courts. Local PD can round up a bunch of homeless people and bring them in, counsel them, refer them to other agencies within the society that can provide services for them. Re-entry court, teen court, youth court, juvenile courts, gun courts. a whole bunch of different type of specialized activities. The idea behind all of this is to keep the person's record clean. If there's a blemish on your permanent record, your chances of getting good employment drop. They're trying to rehabilitate, reform, not punish. So, what if you had a drug addiction and got convicted of a crime? Would you hope for prison or a mental hospital, or why? Department, actually the state of California, but not so much the department, the state of California has a version of a drug court for criminal offenders for people that are addicts or in danger of becoming an addict, but they have a history. So sending them out to a halfway house or alternative type of platform doesn't work for these people. So they have a drug court where, if it's voluntary, the person can choose, instead of being locked up in prison, they can go in as a drug offender. And they send them over here to Norco. They do not get a CDC number, a commitment number. They get what's called an N number for narcotic offenders. If they're successful, they come in under the N number. They do their 2 to 3 years. They go through the substance abuse and treatment program. And they can prove to the court that they're no longer at risk of becoming a drug user. They can have their records erased. So it's really a good opportunity. The problem with the N number is that there's no timetable. Like if you're sentenced to a crime, you're gonna do 3 or 4 years. The judge sentence you, you're gonna do 3 years, period, that's it. Under an N number, you could keep that number with you for 20, 30 years, never discharge it. It's up to you when you lose that number. Most drug offenders are not successful. Even though they lie to themselves and say, yeah, I'm gonna kick the habit, most don't. And they end up keeping that number for a long time. They check in to Narco, they do their program, they have a reentry program, they go to a halfway house, just to help them be successful in the community and free of drug addiction. Doesn't work as often as we'd like. So most will just say, screw the N number, I'd rather do my time and get done with this. But it is an option. So would you take that opportunity? You're the drug offender, so draw your own picture in your mind. What would you rather do? Mental hospital or some type of drug deterrent program? Or would you just say, screw it and go to state prison? Think about it. I won't pick on Edgar because I haven't seen him in a while. What would you do?
Mental hospital.
Go to the mental hospital? Why? Why would you go there? What do you hope to find?
Hopefully, solution to my own problems.
Solution to your problem.
Opposed to just do the time and
How many of you ever seen the inside of a prison or a jail? The jail cell. Okay, imagine, how would you like to be locked up in there for 23 hours a day? I usually kid around and say, man, just give me books, I'll be happy. It would get to you after a while. I think 10 years tops, that's it. I would get tired of being locked up. Mental hospital at least gives these people the opportunity. Ms. Joseph, what would you do? Mental? Mental hospital. I talked to the a lieutenant from CDC Friday, and we were just shooting the breeze. I asked him how things are going. He works at Chino. And he says it's a joke, that the prisons are a joke. It's no longer a prison. He goes, we're running a hospital. So, you could end up in prison and be treated like a patient. My wife worked in Kalinga as a medical appeals specialist. And she'd have to sit in hearings. By doctors, social workers, we usually have the captain there to represent custody, and then she was the appeals coordinator person. So they would discuss the issues about this individual. And she'd come home just upset as heck. I said, what's wrong? She goes, they keep insisting on calling him a patient. And he's not a patient, he's an inmate. And remember, these are a bunch of liberal thinking people sitting in these rooms. And I said, why didn't you tell them that? She says, oh, I told them. You know, it wasn't very popular. A person is committed, they committed a crime. They're sentenced to prison. They have a CDC commitment number. They're in prison. While in prison, they seek medical help. Well, these medical specialists insist on calling them patients. And she said, no, they're not. They're not sentenced here because they're a patient. They sentenced them because they're inmates, they're criminals. She lost that. And now everybody calls these idiots patients. It's a shame. They're criminals first. Helping the addiction, yes. We need to do something. I've mentioned it before, most of the cases I've seen in prison, hardcore inmates, has that undertone of drug abuse. They committed these other crimes in furtherance of their drug addiction. Drugs is destroying our country. So many resources are thrown at this problem, but not many are sticking. So, think about this. Would you hope for prison or mental hospital, and why? And we'll pick up this discussion Wednesday. Have a good day. I'll see you Wednesday.
Thank you.